Hey guys, what's going on? We are going to tie up the bead-headed pheasant tail today. This is actually one of the first nymph patterns I ever learned how to tie. I don't know why I chose this one to start with, but I think I caught a fish on it pretty quickly after tying it up, and I just kept tying a whole bunch of them because it was about the only fly I could tie. So Beadhead Pheasant Tail. This is on a size 14. This one is a 1750, or sorry, 1710 wet nymph hook. It's a 2X long nymph hook, fairly heavy hook. I've already added a little bit of extra lead-free wire. I usually fish this thing in quite fast water, so I want it to get down as quickly as possible. So already got a tungsten bead on it, wrapped a few wraps of lead wire, and now we'll go ahead and get started building up the body. Using 70 UTC denier for this one. And we're gonna start our thread right behind the wire. You wanna make sure you don't put too much wire or too much lead wire on there, just because we want that to be about the right proportion for the thorax. And we're gonna build up a bit of a tapered body up to there. So I'm gonna take a few wraps over the wire to kind of secure that down. And then we will work our way to the back and start to build up the tail. So it's called pheasant tail, obviously, for a reason. You build almost this entire fly out of pheasant tail. So I'm going to start with grab probably 8 or 9. I'm going to try to get as long of pheasant tail fibers as I can. And the reason why is because these are not only going to be the tail, but they're also going to be what we use to wrap the abdomen. So I've got about 7 or 8 fibers. We want it to be roughly the same length as the length of the hook. And we're going to tie that off at the back with just a couple fairly tight wraps. And now we're going to tie in our rib, which for this one, because this is fairly small, I'm using small copper ribbing, copper wire. And we're going to tie that up so it's about the same length. A couple more wraps. And then we're going to tie our wire off, and then we just want to build up a relatively smooth tapered body all the way up to where our wire is, where our lead wire is. All right. At this point, you can use hackle pliers if you need to. I don't use those unless I absolutely have to, so we'll try wrapping this one with just our fingers. And we're just gonna make as many wraps as we can to hopefully get up just over the wire. And a couple wraps there should secure that down. And it's okay if we went all the way to the end, or if you end up all the way at the end, because we're just gonna wrap peacock curl over the top of that. So that's okay. And now we are going to wrap the rib. And again, the rib of this fly, one little fiber just popped loose there. Cut that guy off. That's okay. All right, let's grab our wire. We are going to rib this fly, try to make this about as evenly spaced as you can. And again, it doesn't matter if you go up further than you need to, because we're going to cover that all up with peacock curl. All right, snap that off. Now for this one, I'm actually going to add a little flash to this one. So I've got a piece of mylar tinsel, and that's going to go over the top of our wing case. So I'm going to tie that in first, because that's the last thing I'm going to pull over. And we want to bring that back to right where the end of the, I guess where the start of the thorax is going to be. And now grab some more pheasant tail. This time I don't need very many. I'm going to grab maybe 5 or 6 strands of pheasant tail. And we can pull those back so they're just the right length. There we go. And now we'll add in a couple strands of peacock curl. And this stuff is, the only bad thing about peacock curl is it's quite brittle. So we don't need a whole bunch of wraps. But there's something you can do to kind of make this a little sturdier. So I'm gonna make 5 or 6 wraps. A couple wraps in front. And at this point, just because if the peacock curl breaks, it can ruin the fly quite quickly. I'm just gonna take a few wraps of thread back through there where the peacock curl is. You can't really see that, and it just helps to keep things sturdy. Now this part you can do it in 2 steps if you want to, or you can do it all at once. We're gonna pull the pheasant tail over. I'm gonna do the flashback at the same time, do the tinsel at the same time. Couple wraps on that side. And we should be able to trim that off. And now we can add in our whip finish. And there we go. One thing that you'll often see with the pheasant tail is the legs will be added in at the end, which it's a step that I skipped. I've fished them with legs and without legs, and I don't know if I can say that the legs make all the difference. So I usually skip that step. You can see there's just enough flash on this to give it a little something extra, but this is an incredible fly. It's another staple that I think everybody's probably got in their box, but not overly difficult to tie, and one that will work forever. It's just such a great fly. So hope it works for you. Get out there and catch some fish, and thanks for watching.